Chosen one, listen closely. Right now, the truth is cracking the walls of a hidden room, and someone from your past can feel it closing in. Not the heat of the world, but the cold sweat of fear runs down their spine. Shame has found them. Regret sits heavy on their chest. They made choices, dark ones, believing power would protect them, believing influence would save them. Instead, it wrapped around them like chain. They aligned with forces that promised elevation and delivered entrapment. Now the debts are due, and panic is setting in. Their escape plan is simple. Place the weight on you and walk away clean, but hear this clearly, do not accept it. What's being offered is not a blessing, it's a transfer. On the surface, it looks like a miracle. A home, land, wealth, a foundation you've dreamed of. It's framed as reconciliation, as repentance, as finally doing right by you after years of silence and harm. And if you've been grinding, praying, trying to build stability from nothing, this offer feels divinely timed. But look deeper. This property carries hidden rot, legal traps, financial sinkholes, shadows buried beneath signatures, debts stitched into the walls, liens you were never told about, back taxes waiting to become your burden, even darker ties, names, activities, investigations that could suddenly place your name in places it was never meant to be. And understand this, the one offering it knows. That's the design. This is not generosity. This is containment. This is a last-minute attempt to move the blast radius before everything detonates. Because it is coming. An investigation is already in motion. Eyes are watching. Authorities are circling. Victims are speaking. The organization behind it all is being exposed piece by piece, and when it collapses, it will bury everyone still attached unless a scapegoat is found, unless distance is created, unless someone innocent is close enough to absorb the fall. That was supposed to be you. You were expected to be grateful, rushed, trusting, too eager to question, too loyal to seek counsel, too familiar to suspect betrayal, but something shifted. You are not who you were the last time they saw you. You've been refined in silence, sharpened by experience. Your intuition matured. That pause you felt when they reached out, that wasn't fear. That was discernment. That was your inner authority stepping forward, protecting you from a trap built over time while your name was being discussed behind closed doors. And now, something else is happening. Someone inside their circle is watching. Someone who couldn't live with what was planned. Someone preparing to pull the curtain back and expose the entire structure. This is not small. This is not random. This is a system, a polished, strategic machine that disguises itself as opportunity. They call it a business, a network, a community of winners, but it's a harvesting ground. Targets are chosen carefully, people with potential, access, resources, purity of name. Your family member was pulled in the same way. At first, it felt like magic. Doors opened, money flowed, confidence soared. It looked like the secret to success had finally been unlocked, but it wasn't success, it was a slow closing trap. These groups don't just want money, they want control. They manufacture leverage through debt, secrets, fear, and obligation. Once entangled deeply enough, freedom disappears. People are pressured to recruit, to manipulate, to harm even those they love, and this is why you were chosen. Not because you are weak, but because your name carries weight, and now that weight must be protected. Chosen one, understand this group operates on something far darker than ambition. They don't just target anyone. They study the light. They recognize it. They know who is meant to awaken others, who is destined to shatter generational curses, who carries the frequency to expose what survives only in shadow. And for people like you, there is a strategy. Direct attacks would reveal too much. So instead, traps are engineered. Burdens are planted. Situations are designed to collapse on you slowly, quietly, until the weight becomes so heavy your light dims and your purpose is delayed. Think back. Something shifted long ago. You disrupted a pattern without realizing it. Maybe you walked away from dysfunction others were too afraid to confront. Maybe you refused to play a role that kept toxicity alive. Maybe you simply chose yourself when obedience was expected. That single choice sent ripples farther than you knew. Proved escape was possible, and that's when you were noticed. A plan was formed, subtle, patient, calculated. Use someone close to you. Make it feel like healing. Frame it as reconciliation. Dress the trap up as answered prayers. Get you to accept something that would bind you legally, financially, energetically. Then, when the collapse comes, you're left holding the consequences while the guilty fade into the distance. But here's what they didn't account for: you have been protected the entire time, and that protection is now activating exposure. This is where the script flips. Because inside their carefully controlled structure, someone cracked. Someone heard too much. saw too much, felt the weight of what was being planned and couldn't live with it. Maybe it was a partner overhearing late-night conversation. Maybe a friend asked to help who suddenly realized how dark the truth was. Maybe someone inside the organization began waking up. Whoever it is, they are the fracture in the dam. They asked questions. They hesitated. They expressed doubt, and panic followed, because these systems only survive when everyone stays silent, loyal, asleep. One conscience can dismantle years of deception. One voice can bring the whole thing down. Your family member feels that pressure now. That's why the urgency spiked. That's why you were rushed. You were supposed to sign before the truth accelerated. You were supposed to be trapped before awareness fully clicked into place, but it's already too late. You feel it, the manipulation, the desperation hiding beneath polished words and friendly smiles, and that awareness is your shield. They needed confusion. They needed your exhaustion. They needed your desperation, but you are clear. You are steady. You are aligned with truth, and if this message resonates, it's because it's not just for you. It's for every chosen one standing at the edge of a similar trap. Truth is spreading now, quietly at first, then louder. From whispers to conversation, from questions to confirmation. Someone shares a detail, someone else adds proof, another admits what they witnessed. Speculation hardens into revelation. Exposure becomes inevitable. Your family member can feel the walls closing in the unanswered questions, the shifted looks, the respect quietly withdrawing. Stress leaks through the cracks. Sleep disappears. Behavior unravels. Those nearby sense something deeply wrong. The mask starts slipping. Small mistakes surface. Tiny inconsistencies stack up, each one revealing more than intended, and then it happens, the moment when the truth can no longer be contained, and everything hidden is dragged into the light. The moment arrives, the one that changes everything. Maybe it breaks as a headline. Maybe it surfaces through an official investigation finally going public. Maybe it's leaked documents, undeniable and detailed. Maybe it's a victim who finds the courage to speak at last, but suddenly, what lived in shadows is dragged into the light. What was whispered is now shouted. What was suspected is confirmed. The organization is exposed. Names appear in reports. Connections are traced. Money trails are followed with precision, and everyone involved is being identified. Your family member's name is there, not as the mastermind, not at the top, but undeniably connected, complicit, participating, and as more details emerge, the picture sharpens. What was done, who was harmed, how you were meant to be used as an exit strategy. It all spills out. Everything believed to be buried forever is now displayed for all to see. The illusion collapses. Family members who once admired the success now see the truth underneath it. Friends who envied the lifestyle understand what it was built on. The community that once offered respect quietly pulls it back. Eyes open, perceptions shift. Everyone sees what was really there beneath the performance, and the shame is unbearable, not just the shame of being caught, but the shame of being truly seen. Seen for the cruelty that was hidden. Seen for the harm that was justified. Seen for the mask of goodness worn while damage was being done. People begin to distance themselves publicly, severing ties, denouncing association. No one wants to be linked to a scandal like this. No one wants to defend the indefensible. The circle that once supported disappears. The community that once welcomed closes its doors. The transformation is complete, from respected figure to outcast, from admired example to cautionary tale, from success story to warning of what happens when a soul is sold to the wrong hands. And realize this, you were almost pulled into it too. If you had accepted that offer, signed those papers, taken that poison gift, you'd be standing in that same spotlight right now, facing exposure, fighting battles you didn't create, drowning in consequences meant for someone else, but you're not there. You're safe, you're clear, you're protected because you listened, you trusted your instincts, you honored your intuition, you refused to trade discernment for temporary comfort. Watch how the consequences spread like water, finding every crack. It's not just one person being exposed, it's everyone connected, everyone who vouched, everyone who recruited, everyone who benefited, everyone who looked the other way. All are being questioned now, all are being seen differently. The gatherings once dominated no longer welcoming. The social circles once filled with applause doors closing. The business relationships once leveraged for credibility cut clean. This is what happens when reputation binds itself to corruption. When a name becomes associated with schemes that harm the innocent. When a face becomes synonymous with betrayal and manipulation. And notice this, you didn't cause the downfall. You didn't make calls. You didn't leak information. You didn't campaign or confront. You simply stepped back and chose peace peace, and now natural consequences are doing what they always do. That is the power of walking away. That is the strength of non-engagement. That is the quiet authority of letting divine justice move without your interference. Others are speaking. Others are exposing. Victims are coming forward. Insiders are turning over evidence. Family members are finally telling truths buried for years. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to prove anything. The universe is handling it. Justice is already in motion, precise and unavoidable, restoring balance exactly where it was violated, unfolding exactly as it was meant to, and you get to witness it all from a safe distance, untouched, unreachable, protected. Imagine the conversations happening right now in those circles, the lowered voices, the cautious pauses, the subtle recalculation. No one wants to be the last person still defending when the next wave of information drops. No one wants to be caught standing beside a sinking name. No one wants their own image stained by proximity. So they retreat quietly, carefully, rewriting history in their minds, convincing themselves they were never that close, never that involved. This is the loneliness they engineered for themselves. This is the isolation that grows when relationships are built on manipulation instead of truth, when people are treated as tools instead of soul, when connection is transactional, not genuine. Eventually, people wake up. Eventually, clarity arrives. Eventually, they leave and what remains is silence standing alone, wondering why no one stayed, but you saw this ending long ago. That's why you left when you did. That's why you refused to stay when pressure mounted. That's why you walked away even when you were labeled cold, harsh, unforgiving. You weren't cold, you were clear. You weren't unforgiving, you were discerning. You weren't abandoning anyone, you were refusing to drown in someone else's chaos, and now something else unfolds, something no one planned for. The exposure doesn't stay contained. It doesn't remain behind closed doors or within family whispers. It goes public. The silence that protected these schemes for years is shattered. The unspoken agreement to keep secrets collapses, and once truth enters the public space, it can't be retrieved. This adds an entirely new weight to the fallout. It's one thing when family knows. It's another when strangers know, when neighbors know, when coworkers know, when a community speaks your name in contexts you can't control, when reputation unravels faster than it can be repaired. That kind of exposure changes everything. Faces can't be shown in familiar places anymore. Certain rooms are no longer safe. Certain events are avoided. Whispers follow footsteps. Eyes linger too long. The carefully maintained mask is torn away in front of an audience, and there is no replacement, no reset, no return to who they pretended to be before the truth surfaced. From where you stand, protected and steady, a realization settles in. You could have been there with them if you had accepted that offer, if you had signed those papers, if you had let obligation override intuition. Your name would be linked to the scandal right now, your life under scrutiny, your credibility questioned, but it isn't because you chose yourself, because you trusted what you felt even when it made others uncomfortable, because you protected your future when it looked like rejection to those who didn't understand. The contrast is undeniable. They are managing public shame while you live in private peace. They are scrambling to control narratives while you move freely in truth. They are exhausted by damage control while you invest in growth, stability, and alignment. The difference between integrity and deception has never been clearer, and what makes this exposure irreversible is this: it isn't rumor. It isn't hearsay. It isn't one voice against another. It's evidence, documentation, record, messages, witnesses, trails that can't be erased, plans discussed in writing, transfers logged, conversations preserved, truth captured in forms that can't be denied, no matter how polished the performance becomes. And with every new piece revealed, the story locks into place, final, undeniable, complete. Maybe it's legal documents bearing signatures that can't be disputed. Maybe it's recordings of conversations once believed to be safely hidden. Maybe it's testimony from voices everyone assumed would stay silent forever. Whatever form it takes, it's solid, verifiable, undeniable, and that's where the real panic begins. The entire defense was built on image, on controlling the story, on reputation outweighing reality, on people believing charm over proof, but evidence doesn't care who you are. Facts don't respond to performance. Truth does not negotiate with lies. Once everything is laid out, once the pieces are connected and the full picture becomes visible, there's no spinning it, no softening it, no way to make guilt look like innocence. Of course, records were kept. These systems always document everything, not for transparency, but for leverage and control, and now those same records are surfacing. Name, transaction, messages, timelines, everything traceable, everything provable. The very structure meant to protect them is now exposing them. You almost ended up in those records. Your name almost appeared. Your signature almost sealed your fate, but it didn't because you listened. Because you stepped back, because you honored that inner warning that said something is wrong. Now you're clear, while others are buried beneath documents that reveal exactly what they did, who they harmed, and who they truly are when given power without integrity. The defenders are running out of words. How do you defend someone when the proof is undeniable? How do excuses survive financial trails and written plans? They don't. So the supporters go quiet. They disappear. They distance themselves, and the shame multiplies, because being accused is one thing, but being proven guilty beyond doubt is another entirely. This kind of exposure doesn't bruise a reputation. It erases it, and you already know this wasn't random. You can feel the walls closing in on their world. Which brings us to why this moment matters for you. This is exactly why I created Destiny Engine, to help you transmute betrayal into transcendence, isolation into sacred power, and their collapse into your elevation. We are taking the same consciousness technologies once used by dark elites to program scarcity and competition, and repurposing them to activate cooperation, clarity, and inner authority. You don't have to fight. You don't have to prove anything. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious begins rewiring, while those who chose deception collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is alchemy. This is purpose. This is why everything they tried to use against you becomes fuel for who you're becoming. A collective upgrade is already underway. Start your Destiny Engine today for $1 and watch alignment and justice accelerate in your life. Link is in the description, and look around the broader family system right now. Power dynamics are shifting. Hierarchies are being questioned. Old rules are breaking, because when one person's corruption is fully revealed, it forces everyone to examine the systems that protected it. Silence is no longer neutral. Complicity is no longer invisible. Some are being confronted with truths they avoided for years. Others are facing the cost of choosing comfort over integrity, and the shame rising now isn't coming from you, it's coming from clarity. People are finally seeing themselves as they are, and once that happens, nothing can ever go back to the way it was. Finally understanding that silence in the face of wrongdoing is its own form of wrongdoing. The elders who once ruled through fear, guilt, and unspoken threats are losing their grip. Their authority is fading fast. The old phrases, "That's just how it is. You have to accept it. This is how our family works," no longer hold power. The excuses don't land anymore. The ones who insisted everything stay in the family, no matter how harmful, are being ignored now, because people are waking up to a deeper truth. Loyalty should never require self-destruction. Blood does not entitle anyone to harm you. Tradition is not more sacred than truth. You are witnessing a generational shift in real time. Old patterns are cracking. Old programming is being interrogated. The strategy of surviving dysfunction by pretending it doesn't exist is being rejected outright. And you are part of that shift. Your refusal to stay silent weakened the foundation. Your boundaries destabilized the structure. Your willingness to name the truth brought light into places that thrived on darkness. Younger family members are watching closely, learning, noticing that you set boundaries and survived, that you chose yourself and weren't destroyed, that protecting your peace is not betrayal. You are showing them another way, a healthier way. A way where love does not require enduring abuse, where family does not mean tolerating toxicity, where loyalty does not demand silence in the face of harm. This is legacy work. This is generational healing in motion. This is pattern breaking at its deepest level. You didn't just save yourself, you altered the trajectory for everyone coming after you. Children growing up in this family will be programmed differently because of what you did. The next generation will have choices that didn't exist before. The future will look different because you refuse to keep repeating the past, and look at how you've changed. Every challenge was training. Every betrayal strengthened you. Every moment you chose yourself over someone else's comfort prepared you for the next level of your existence. You're not stuck in victimhood. You're not waiting to be rescued. You're not hoping things magically improve. You are in your power. You are building, creating, moving forward with clarity while others remain trapped in chaos of their own making. This is chosen one frequency. This is what it looks like when someone refuses to be defined by what others tried to do to them. The life you're building now stands on a foundation that cannot be shaken. Truth, integrity, wisdom earned through pain, discernment forged through betrayal, boundaries tested by fire. When storms come and you won't fall. When challenges arise and you won't break. You've already survived worse, faced harder, overcome greater. This exposure unfolding now isn't random, it's confirmation. Validation, proof, evidence that what you felt was real, what you sensed was accurate, what they called you crazy for seeing was true all along. You weren't paranoid, you were perceptive, you weren't dramatic, you were discerning. You weren't the problem, you were the one brave enough to name it, and now the world is catching up to what you already knew. Your story is becoming testimony. Your survival is becoming encouragement. Your refusal to accept abuse is becoming permission for others to refuse it too. You may not even realize how many people are watching you right now, drawing strength from your strength, courage from your courage, clarity from your example. Learning that it's possible to break free, to stand firm, to choose yourself without being selfish, to honor truth without becoming cruel. So what now, chosen one? What do you do with all of this? You keep walking your path. You keep building your life. You keep honoring your boundary. You keep trusting your intuition, and you keep choosing yourself every single time someone tries to guilt you into abandoning who you are. If that offer hasn't arrived yet, understand this: you're already prepared. You see it for what it truly is now. You know exactly how to respond when it appears. Your answer doesn't need decoration or explanation. It's complete on its own. No justifying, no apologizing, no negotiating, no softening the truth to make others comfortable. Just know, let people carry the consequences of their own choices. Let them face what they created. Let them harvest what they planted. That weight was never yours to carry. That mess was never yours to clean up. That burden was never assigned to you. If the offer already came and you accepted it, act immediately. Do not freeze. Do not delay. Get legal help now. Find representation you trust. Tell them everything clearly, fully, without minimizing a single detail. Have every document reviewed with precision. There may still be a way out. There may still be protections available. Time matters. Do not assume it's too late. Do not hope it magically resolves itself. Meet strategy with strategy. Meet manipulation with clarity. Protect yourself with the same intensity that was used to try to trap you, and if the offer came and you refused it, know this without hesitation: you chose correctly. Do not second-guess yourself for even a moment. Do not let anyone twist the narrative and paint you as ungrateful, cold, or unforgiving. You were none of those things. You were discerning. You were grounded. You honored your knowing. You chose clarity over comfort. Stand firmly in that decision. Let the fallout happen without you. Let the exposure unfold without your participation. You don't need to engage in chaos to be vindicated. Your silence, your distance, your peace speak louder than any explanation ever could. As everything continues to unravel, guard your boundaries like sacred ground, because they are sacred. Don't get pulled into discussions about what's happening. Don't allow yourself to become the emotional dumping ground for shock, disappointment, or regret. Don't step into the role of healer, mediator, or family therapist. That is not your assignment. Your assignment is to protect your peace, to stay clear, to keep building your life while others sit with the consequences of their choices, and while some are drowning in exposure and shame, you are rising higher than you've ever been. This is your season of elevation, your time of acceleration. What was blocked is about to flow. What was delayed is about to arrive. Doors that were forced shut are about to open effortlessly. Blessings that were intercepted are finding their way directly to you. The universe does not miss. Divine timing does not fail. What is meant for you will always reach you, and what was meant to destroy you will always be redirected. Every weapon formed against you is proving ineffective. Every trap is collapsing before it can close. Every scheme designed for your downfall is quietly setting the stage for your greatest breakthrough. Watch what unfolds next. Opportunities you stopped expecting will appear without warning. Connections you released will return in new, aligned forms. Resources you thought were out of reach will begin flowing naturally. Doors you stopped knocking on will open on their own. Not because you begged, not because you convinced anyone of your worth, not because you compromised who you are, but because you stayed in integrity, because you trusted timing, because you refused shortcuts that would have cost you your soul. Your consistency is about to be rewarded. Your patience is about to pay dividends beyond what you can imagine. Your faith is about to be validated so clearly that even those who doubted you will have to acknowledge the truth from a distance they chose. This vindication won't come through arguments or explanation. It will come through your expansion, through your peace, through a life so full, so grounded, so undeniably aligned that it answers every question without you saying a word. word. The greatest revenge isn't retaliation. It's freedom. It's abundance. It's living so well that the cost of betrayal becomes obvious to everyone who chose it, and when they finally see what was lost the moment they turned away from truth, they'll understand what you protected by walking away. What could have existed if love had been chosen instead of destruction? That is something you no longer need access to. Some doors close not as punishment, but as protection. Some futures are removed once it's proven that your light, your energy, your presence, and your gifts are not safe in certain hands. That family member who tried to use you remains seated in darkness, while you are walking forward in the light. They are still bound by choices they refuse to face, still entangled with an organization that promised everything and delivered nothing but consequence. Meanwhile, you are building something real, something solid on a foundation that cannot be shaken. The contrast is undeniable. Anyone watching can see it clearly now. This is what divine justice looks like in real time. Not revenge, not retaliation, not celebration of another's pain, but you living fully while others face the natural outcomes of what they chose. You thriving while others barely hold themselves together. You expanding while others shrink inward. You rising while others fall under the weight of their own decisions, and the difference between integrity and deception is now impossible to ignore. The end has arrived for those who worked against you. Their hiding season is over. Their illusion of success has collapsed. Their ability to operate in shadows is finished for good. Everything they tried to conceal is being revealed. Everyone they tried to deceive is seeing clearly. Every lie is unraveling into exactly what it always was: one deception stacked on top of another, and the shame is widespread. Not just for the central figure, but for every enabler. Every defender, every person who told you that you were imagining things, every voice that pressured you to forgive what was never repented for, everyone who asked you to accept what should have been rejected. They are all being confronted with the truth that you were right. You always were. They chose temporary comfort over permanent truth, but you're not waiting for apologies. You're not dependent on their acknowledgement. You're not seeking validation from those who failed you because you validated yourself. You trusted yourself. You chose yourself, and that choice saved you. That loyalty to your own knowing kept you out of the trap. That willingness to stand alone positioned you perfectly for what's coming next. So shine, chosen one. Shine without apology. Shine without permission. Shine without shrinking yourself for anyone's comfort. Shine so brightly that those who doubted you must turn away from the glare of your clarity. Shine so consistently that those who dismissed you are forced to acknowledge the truth. Shine with such power that everyone can see exactly where that light comes from and exactly why it could never be extinguished. No matter how hard darkness tried, this is your moment. This is your season to rise. This is your flourishing. This is your vindication, not because you demanded it, not because you fought for recognition, but because truth always surfaces. Light always wins, and chosen ones always fulfill their purpose, even when powerful forces attempt to stop them. You were protected for a reason, chosen for a reason, and that reason is unfolding now in ways that will reach people you haven't even met yet. The exposure is complete. The truth is public. The shame has landed where it belonged. Everyone sees what happened. Everyone understands what was attempted, and you don't have to do anything except keep moving forward. Keep building your dreams. Keep walking your path. Keep becoming who you were always meant to be. The justice is divine. The vindication is automatic, and the most powerful chapters of your life are still ahead.